we kick off our week of sports conversation. Trent Condon, Ken Miller with you for the next couple of hours, right until just before 2 o'clock here on a Monday. Here's what's coming up on our program. Scott Docterman is off. He's in Los Angeles covering the Big Ten meetings. Hopefully there'll be some news coming out of that. I'm guessing it's mostly, well, playoff related, but we will talk to Doc next week. Today, we're going to talk to David Eickholt. He just posted something on the Iowa receiving room. I will do football, basketball, etc. with David Eickholt. 24/7 Sports coming up at 12:25. Bill Seals at 12:45. Hopefully, the Meet the Coaches caravan that is coming through Des Moines will be wrapped up by that time, and Bill will be able to jump on and recap just as it's wrapping up what he heard, if anything, coming out of the first opportunity to spend some time with the coaching staff as they make their way through the state of Iowa. Bill Seals, 12:45. Matt Snyder talks baseball with Trent and I, as he does every Monday, or most Mondays at 1 o'clock. Major League Baseball conversation with Major League Baseball columnist, writer Matt Snyder from CBSSports.com. And then longtime golf writer Matt Rudy will join us at 1:30. We'll put a bow on the PGA, and you're right, by the way.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit in May.
Look at you coming along with me.
Yeah, I'm an old man. It's hard to get me to change my stance. But I've seen it a couple of years now. It just didn't feel like a major.
It really did.
And Aaron Rye aside, I mean, Rory McIlroy could have won, and I'd have felt the same way.
Yep, absolutely.
It just didn't have that kind of, I don't know, special feeling. I still think there's no other place to put it. I mean, it's got to compete with football in August, but maybe that's kind of the last grasp of summer sports.
Yes, yeah.
So maybe you lead you over to the TV to watch that. But I always thought it didn't work in August. I'm convinced it doesn't in May. We'll see what the PGA does. Having said that, your thoughts on the tournament?
Boring.
Yeah, kind of, right?
I mean,
it was close for a while, but it was not the biggest names. Maybe Rahm was in there and Rory was in there. I don't know. It just
he had Oberg for a while, but he couldn't make a putt.
He never makes a putt on Sunday, Trent.
He really doesn't. He's so talented.
Yes,
you
until
can see,
Sunday.
Yeah, you can see the talents obviously there. And just because our expectations were so big for him, I started telling you about the Swedish kid.
You did a long time ago.
Played at Texas Tech, and this is going to be a guy, and he's been good. Oh, we're waiting for that breakthrough moment from him. The leaderboard, and just on Sunday, we're waiting. All these guys, this is going to be great golf. It wasn't.
And Justin Thomas was a big name.
Yes, absolutely. He goes up, and that was the thing going into Sunday. I see Thomas.
Really, I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was real early today. I'm like, here we go. I'm 63. Yeah, so I thought, here we go. We're going to see a great Sunday with a bunch of different guys. It's going to be back and forth. It's just own it.
Well, why me? What a back nine he put together. Deserving winner. I mean, this wasn't a fluke that he hit, banged one off a couple of trees and ended up right by the cup. This was a heck of a round for him as he wins his major, and Aaron Rye now the PGA winner. But it's just something was lacking on that. I'm anxious to be on Matt Rudy's perspective and what he saw this past week. I'm guessing the numbers are going to be bad.
Oh, I think so.
TV-wise.
Yes, absolutely. Another component that I heard talking about changing calendars and the things that I read before we talked about that last week, is there is a thought that the PGA Tour when they're kind of for the casual, it doesn't work on the casual. Yes, and you're getting into football. But a thought, and this would intrigue me, and I think would intrigue you as well, is having some of those August tournaments, if they don't move the PGA, but trying to elevate the playoffs in some kind of form or fashion, having a couple of them at minimum on the West Coast. And then you get into prime time
TV.
Yes. That's an idea. I said, that's the best idea I have heard.
It would have to be August. You have to get in front of college football on Saturday night and on Sunday night. But if indeed August is an option, that would move the need. Absolutely. Just see where it goes. It's about our time, something like that. 9 o'clock on the East Coast.
Trent,
that's not awful. Absolutely terrible.
We watched Harry Potter.
Did you? I watched Troy. Shoot him.
You went back to the Gators, huh?
Well, I've got a bunch of them on tape.
Oh, yeah.
So one of the episodes, they're hunting alligators.
Yes.
Right? With a string and a hook. Yeah, they got a gun once you get into the boat, but there's Troy's 82-year-old mom
Oh, geez.
in the boat. I mean,
Was she helping get the gator in?
she was verbally encouraging
there you go.
Troy to shoot it. But
I know it's
this
good.
noise from the idiot box.
Oh,
As
yeah.
my old man called it.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
Idiot box. Turn the idiot box. Seattle and Padres, terrible. Baseball, awful. And trying to watch the Game 7 Cavs Pistons. I turned it off. I turned it off too.
Yeah.
It was awful. I mean, feel free. You got the home crowd. You're coming from behind. You've got an opportunity to play the Knicks, and that's the age that the Pistons play. And they were a slight favorite last night. What?
4.5.
Was it 4.5? I thought it was 2.5.
Yeah.
They've got that 4.5. Talk about it. No sweat.
Cruised in. It was ugly.
Oh, terrible.
And on top of it, it's a crime. And once you flip away,
I didn't try to go back.
unless you get an alert or you happen to flip on your phone.
You watch your X.
Yeah.
Covered on your
something like that. If that's not happening,
no. Nope.
And we're not going to get, I don't think, true numbers.
No, probably.
I always wonder about the street numbers. What is the reality behind it? No, I think they can also actually judge it better because it's very simple.
Yeah, you would think.
Yes, right. Yeah. Right. Like, I mean,
we're long.
Yep. But that's another thing too, where when you see some of the YouTube metrics, and I do with that a lot with my podcast, you see it. Well, what constantly
you held to a certain number?
We're not held to it, but it's something that
are you rewarded if you can?
Yes. And subscribers and those kind of things, but what constitutes here on radio? People dive. That's how people are numbers. They have to actually write down your show or the station that you're on. Those are the things, and the people actually have to do it. Yes, absolutely. That one was for too. On the other side, you see, like on Twitter, this has this many impressions. What's an impression?
Yeah, really. Did
On
you read
Facebook-
the whole thing?
On Facebook, it feels like 80% of them are ads now when I'm on Facebook. And I don't go there nearly as often as I once did. But you see
I've
those same kind of
avoided it.
things.
I'm glad I'm not.
Yeah, and there's multitude now. I think Instagram's about the only one left.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm not on that
And
either.
that's not very good either. But is it, all right, yes, you saw it because you were scrolling past it. So that's an impression.
So if I scroll past something, they get it.
Even if you hesitate maybe for a moment, I don't know.
I'm not against giving them numbers. I don't understand people. I'm not going to hit on that. I'm not going to give them a click.
Right.
Why? What difference does it make?
Yes.
How does it harm you?
If it interests you,
Right. Yeah. So if I click on a video and it's 8 minutes and I watch 5 seconds, is that's
an impression.
Is the video?
And now it's a view. Yeah, it's a view. You don't watch 8 minutes, and we watch 5 seconds. Right. This is stupid.
Right.
Moving on. That's a view. It's a little bit different than art. Much different.
Interesting. Well, we will see where the PGA ends up. Hopefully, well, here's my thing when it comes to the NBA. Do you think the Western Conference maybe has a chance to be better than the Eastern Conference final?
I don't think either
Spurs
one.
You don't. No, okay. Because the Spurs beat OKC 4-5 in the regular season.
Trouble.
So are you taking the Spurs? Do you think you're all over OKC?
I am. I still believe in the old school way of thinking of the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
There's steps.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Pacers didn't take steps last year. They just came onto the scene, and Halliburton had a couple of daggers against the Knicks, and they skipped a step.
So
that was then, but I'm used to what the Pistons had to do getting past the Celtics, and what the Bulls had to do getting past the Pistons, and those
that
steps
was so much fun, Trent.
that are just necessary. We've seen that even with OKC going back a couple of years, and that is the reality for the most part of NBA basketball.
So the Spurs have to they've got one more hill to climb before we anoint them.
Yes, there's one more lump in front of them. Maybe two. I think it might be 4 more. I think the Knicks.
I think the Knicks are home.
But I have that ticket, Thunder over Knicks.
Oh, you do?
From before the season.
Prior to?
Yes.
You have that as the exact. What did you get on that?
13-1. That wasn't great.
And it's shorter than I would have thought, but everybody's got OKC on top,
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
It was one of those boosts on DraftKings, so I'm like, okay, I'll do that.
Mhm.
Jump on there, hit the boost, 15-1,
Mhm.
14-1, something like that. But do I take $10 on both the Cavs and the Spurs to win this series? Both of the prices are about the same, just to guarantee myself, all right, you're going to get a profit out of it if you do it that way.
So you're gonna probably do two profits together?
Just one each. It's an individual bet on both of them. And if I get one wrong, so yeah, it's a little something bad.
That's very-
I'm in a good spot. I'm in a good spot.
Yeah, you are in a good spot. Speaking of DraftKings, did you see that this is a taxation situation when it comes to sports wagering in Illinois? Remember the big to-do when DraftKings and Wrigley Field partnered up with that spanking new bar slash restaurant?
It was great.
It was huge.
Went there with the Circa crew
Oh,
when they
you
were in
did?
town. Yeah. We,
And it's pretty big, right? It's pretty well
absolutely.
done.
Yeah, and the people from Rome were there, so we had a nice booth upstairs before the Iowa Northwestern
Because
game at Wrigley.
DraftKings is in partnership with
Yep.
Wild Rose, as Circa is.
Yes, it was a really fun time, really cool venue.
And
I
now
wonder
they're out.
what the rent costs.
Mhm.
And then you couple it with. So, can you explain why the rules in Illinois are so difficult? And there's many sportsbook operators out there that are saying it is not financially viable
Well, they
to be in the state of Illinois.
correct. They went into the state of Illinois with a tax rate of X, right? Knowing that they could offer fair lines and the customers would get and they wouldn't have to, manipulate the lines so they got more of an edge over the customers. Well, when we went into Illinois, the tax rate was X. The leadership in Illinois said, "Yeah, you know what? That's what it was. We came in. We're just going to change this. Instead of the tax rate being X, we're going to make it X or X times 2. And now it's just not feasible to pay unless you want to totally screw the customers. Or lose your shirt as an operator. You have to swallow hard. And I'm guessing this is going to be pricey for DraftKings to get out of Illinois. All that money they invested in the book to begin with, it's going to become a bar slash restaurant.
Mhm.
And it's going to be, I would anticipate somewhere down the road. So you couldn't get access to Wrigley Field through the book, correct?
Correct.
You had to leave and go out again.
Yep.
I anticipate that somehow, they'll be joined at some point. But that's what it is. It's just not possible. It's like that's why when sports wagering first came to Iowa, everybody wanted to be here
Absolutely.
because the tax rate was set at such a number where it was fair to the operators and fair to the customers. Now, and it remains that way to this day.
Mhm.
Illinois, it was fair to the operators, fair to the customers. Now it's unfair to the operators, and who loses? The customers, because they're going to pass it on.
This from the Chicago Tribune. In 2024, the state of Illinois increased the tax rate as high as 40% for larger online and retail sports betting platforms. That is based on adjusted gross wagering revenue. Last year, also Illinois added per wager tax of 25 cents each bet. And that's why you saw a lot of the operators, they have to have some kind of minimum. You can't have a
Right.
25% bet for people who just
$7,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just, again, you're talking about killing that.
They screw the customers.
Absolutely. And that is going up to 50 cents per wager after sportsbook fields more than 20 million bets a year. That increases as well. For DraftKings, this again from the Chicago Tribune, strike three for the Wrigley Field venue may have been a new 10.25% tax implemented by Chicago in January on adjusted gross sports wagering receipts for bets placed within the city at a retail operator.
So it's even more.
Absolutely.
Oh, you can't afford to do business.
Oh, no.
They just pushed them out of business. You know where they're pushing them? Back in the alleys.
Absolutely.
Back overseas.
Offshore.
Offshore, that's what I mean.
The Hawkeyes and
Yeah.
those crooks that thing, that's scary.
Yeah, it is.
When you're able to manipulate markets like they can, well, people take it the other side. Yeah, and people are.
There was a big thing on 60
Was
Minutes.
that-
Yeah. Apparently there was a big thing on 60 Minutes. Game 7 tonight, NHL, Montreal and Buffalo. Puck drops at hopefully just after 7. Scheduled for 6:30. I'm hoping that's when the coverage starts.
Game 7 puck drop like
Yeah,
6:48.
7:10. This thing will be full flight Frank. We'll see where it goes. But
Watch little game 6.
did you?
Yep.
Buffalo really put it to him.
Yeah. That big second period.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a blowout like that, but it kind of made it that way. I kind of felt like I was here this weekend. I tried to watch sports on my phone.
It's different, isn't it?
Freaking different. Really different. I mean, I get the signal okay. It's just, oh my God.
You need to get your magnifying glass with you.
I do.
You got a feel for tonight's Game 7?
No.
Yeah.
I think I like the visiting team, which is Montreal. I think the pressure's on Buffalo, right? I'm trying to do that.
They're there for the first time in forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time. They got past the first round.
Mm-hmm. That's been a long time since Montreal's been better, but they have. Did you watch much baseball over the weekend and did the White Sox capture your attention?
It did not for me because we have it was a very busy one before. We had a delay on Saturday. Now they pushed everything back to get the field ready on Saturday morning, but we got pushed back. We played. My daughter played 6 games in 27 hours. So 3 on Saturday, then 3 on Sunday yesterday as they made it to the championship.
Only to fall.
Still got rings, got their banners, so got to the championship.
They really get rings.
Yes, absolutely.
At the event?
Yes, yeah. Yes, Central Iowa Sports, get some rings and get a banner that they all signed, and we put it up in our indoor complex. It was a frustrating final game, but that was a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
you can see it on the young girls' faces. I mean, they're 9, 10 years old. You can see that's a lot. That's a lot.
We slept well last night.
Yes.
I wonder how Gary Dolphin slept this weekend. And where I'm going with this is collateral damage on this whole story. Mm-hmm. Did Gary Dolphin know that it was supposed to hit the fan in the New York Post?
Probably not.
Probably not, right?
No.
I'm guessing the last thing Gary Dolphin needed or wanted, expected, was to see his name splashed all over the internet on Saturday. I'm right. Now, potentially, I don't know if Gary Barta would have the sack to do it.
Absolutely fair.
Right?
Yes.
But if something would have been said, and I heard more stories that brothers and family that worked at Harvard walked by a narrow hallway and the men's basketball coach wouldn't even acknowledge him. Good morning, coach. Wouldn't pick up. Now, maybe Stephen thought.
No, could. Yes.
No, he wasn't. He said, you know what? Mm-hmm. But it didn't need to get this far.
No, absolutely.
It did not get to get this far.
And when you have good leadership, it would not have gotten.
It would not have got this far. It should have been stopped right after the event happened in the first place. Again, we're assuming Gary Barta would have done something.
Yes.
But I felt bad for Gary Dolphin, man. I really, really did.
A good soldier. Yes. A guy that cares nothing more than what is happening.
He loves his gig.
Yes. As he should. Great gig. Absolutely.
Look, he's not going
anytime. Right. Beautiful pipe. Absolutely great voice. Loves the Hawkeyes. He is a guy that has become an institute. Think of the great calls throughout the years and everything that goes along with it. Yes. Yeah.
Not running. Drew Tate doesn't realize that. It's close.
And to be through that, and just think of work environments. I mean, I think both of us have been in uncomfortable work environments in the past. Yeah. And when you're going there every game, you're broadcasting the game, and you know the guy that is pacing up and down the floor next to you is like that. And that's what you're walking into from late October through March. That couldn't have been fun for you.
No, it couldn't. It couldn't have been. Neither was this weekend. All right, 12:25. We'll take a time out before we do that. Let's try and start your week off on the right foot. You can head to KXnO.com or whatever station you are listening to. The keyword this hour, pop-up box is going to appear in the pop-up box. Today's the 18th, right, Trent? Yes, it is. Type the keyword deposit at KXnO.com or whatever station you are on. Deposit. That'll give you an opportunity in this nationwide contest to win $1,000. Miller Condon underway on Power Monday. David Eickholt next to his heels, couple of Iowa State coaches caravan. The state here.
Are you looking to upgrade your curb appeal? Fancy Landscaping and Nursery is your trusted partner of more than 35 years in Ankeny and the Metro for all landscaping needs. Browse 5 full acres of trees, plants, and shrubs, their huge nursery selection, landscaping to get the project done. Hawkeyes Barbecue, also there, and it's a griller's paradise. Visit tntlandscaping.com for details or stop in at 1313 Southwest Ordnance Road in Ankeny. Tell them Heather sent you in.
Get in on the action with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Circa Sports Iowa is where the pros play. Enjoy the highest limits, lowest takeouts, and competitive betting menus. Download, fund, and bet from anywhere in Iowa. Circa Sports Iowa. Sports betting the way it should be. Download your new bookie today. Visit circasports.com. Must be over 21 and present in Iowa to bet. Have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
With iHeart, everything you hear is guaranteed human. That's why 78% of listeners trust their favorite radio host's product recommendations. If you manage a business or need to drive sales, that trust goes a long way. Visit iHeartAdvertising.com. Again, that's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Our yoga instructor challenged us to find inner peace. I found it faster than anyone. After 4 seconds, I stood up and screamed, "I found Nirvana! I win!" They asked me to leave. I guess they don't respect winning. Bet365 does, though. New customers get $200 in bonus bets just for betting $10. Namaste, losers. Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Iowa. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Ken and Trent are back in 60 seconds right here on 106.3 KXnO.
Introducing the new Chick-fil-A Jalapeno Ranch Club Sandwich. With that juicy Chick-fil-A chicken on a buttermilk ranch bun, jalapeno ranch sauce, and pickled jalapenos, it's a little ranch with a lot of kick. The new Chick-fil-A Jalapeno Ranch Club with original spicy or grilled filet. Available for a limited time only. Order ahead on the Chick-fil-A app.
It's the French Open, where every point is a battle on clay. I'd know. I competed there for decades. Join me, Renee Stubbs, on the Renee Stubbs Tennis Podcast for no-nonsense breakdowns of the biggest matches, the toughest players, and the moments that define Roland Garros.
Listen, Elena Rybakina is arguably the best player in the world right now, and I actually can win on any surface.
Search the Renee Stubbs Tennis Podcast on iHeartRadio, America's #1 podcast network, and the Webby Podcast Company of the Year.
Presented by Capital One, founding partner of iHeart Women's Sports.
Get in on the action with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. Circa Sports Iowa is where the pros play. Enjoy the highest limits, lowest takeouts, and competitive betting menus. Download, fund, and bet from anywhere in Iowa. Circa Sports Iowa. Sports betting the way it should be. Download your new bookie today. Visit circasports.com. Must be over 21 and present in Iowa to bet. Have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF. You're listening to Miller and Condon. He can't see it. Wide open. On 106.3 KXnO and the Iowa Sports Radio Network.
All right, Miller and Condon, 12:25. J-Lo, almost 60. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Swing and a miss.
Let's get David Eickholt in here as he covers Iowa 24/7, HawkeyeInsider.com. Hello, David Eickholt. How are you?
Doing well, guys. How are we doing today?
Doing okay. I guess we'll start with the piece you posted here this morning on the receiver room, et cetera, et cetera. Feels like it, and I know there's a lot of Hawkeye fans pretty excited about this group. It's been a long time since they've been able to say that, at this time of year, right? That this is a wide receiver group that actually, I think, deserves Hawkeye fans' enthusiasm behind them. Anxious to see how this plays out, David.
You and me both. And it's very interesting kind of looking at the room, right? Because I think on paper, there's a lot more stability than there has been in recent years. I think there's a lot more, at least, quality depth. I don't think anybody's going to buy stock until they see it on the field on Saturdays, and probably rightfully so. It's like fool me once, shame on fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me, what, nine years in a row where they probably need some big receiver plays. Everybody should be to blame, but it'll be really interesting because I think Reese Vanders and Tony Diaz can be a really solid 1-2, and then you have a bunch of wild cards and guys that we've heard behind the scenes have done a nice job, right? Like KJ Parker was great in the spring game. We talked about him last year. He flashed behind the scenes, kind of lacked that consistency when he was on the field, and it's simple as catching the football, right? I think at times he catch it with his hands, but his whole body would be turned upfield looking to make an explosive play. He would drop some routine passes to him. But I'm very interested about this team. I think that there's a lot of things working in their favor, but at the same time, I'm also trying to sit back and evaluate why the receivers haven't been up to par with the Big Ten. I'd say even power conference football, even group of 5 football over the last 8 or 9 years. I think there's a lot of factors. So trying to go through all these interesting little factoids, it's been fun to kind of evaluate and give my opinion on it.
The quarterback position, I think, became more muddled during the spring. David, I believe you were on the Hicklenski camp. I think almost everybody felt like they were definitely leading that direction. Coming out of camp, now almost a month removed from that last opportunity we had to see him. Is this thing going to go right up until game week, right in front of that Northern Illinois game before we're really going to find out what the decision is at Kirk Ferentz and company?
Yeah, and anybody that says they know who's going to be the starting quarterback's lying to you, right? I mean, if going back through the tape, I've talked to a bunch of people behind the scenes. I know some people have looked at the highlights. I'll say a couple things. One, I do still think Hicklenski wins out, but I do think it's a lot closer of a battle than I thought because I actually thought Hank Brown played fairly well in the open spring practice that we got to see. Don't let the completion percentages fool you. I think a couple of things. One, his footwork looked worlds better than it did last fall and last spring. And I think that's something that scares a lot of people, right? When he gets pressured, the footwork breaks down, the mechanics break down, you can't go through all the routine sort of things. I thought Hank Brown's ball placement was actually pretty great. And I think the one surprising thing to me was how much Hank Brown was willing to throw the football downfield. I mean, you go back to even that week, we talked to Tim Lester. He said, look, the one thing I'm worried about Hank is he could go 17 for 20, but he has 17 yards to his name, right? Like he'll make good decisions, but he'll check down. He threw the ball downfield in that. So I think that's a habit where if you can translate that over to in-game, you feel pretty good about what he can bring to the table. But I just think Jeremy Hicklenski is a different sort of athlete. I think his quickness and ability to dodge oncoming defenders and kind of outrun them, keep his eyes downfield when, he does extend a play. It's going to be just really interesting. Again, I will not be surprised if we learn who the starter is when they put out the depth chart on game week. That's kind of my expectation at this point.
Speaking of expectations, they're seemingly for the first time in a long time when I look at this roster, legitimate questions on both sides of the football, and then it even trickles into special teams, right? With both of the specialists, the kicker, punter, and the kicker. Is it going to be harder maybe to get a preseason grasp? Not that your feel is right every year, but at least you can back up your opinion, right? I'm not sure that when it comes to Hawkeye football this year, that's going to be the case because there are seemingly, at least to me, so many question marks.
Yeah, and I'm right up there with you. And it's really funny because, look, I love preseason rankings. I mean, it's part of the reason why we love the job, right? It's stupid, but we get to argue about it. At least gives us stuff to talk about.
Kill segments.
I've been surprised that Iowa's ranked in the top 20 or 25 as often as they have. Now, I do believe they are top 20, 25 team. But where I'm going with that is if you look back over the past couple of years and those Iowa teams that were barely preseason ranked or not ranked, I think we knew more about those teams than we did this year. I mean, this is an Iowa team that has under 5,000 career defensive starter snaps coming back this year. And that's the lowest in Power 4, right? But people are buying stock into Phil Parker. And it's weird to say, I think we know more about what to expect from the offense than we do the defense at this point. And special teams, I do not envy Chris Polizzi because, man, the expectations of that unit, what Kirk Ferentz has done, replacing all those things, I really don't think people should be taking that for granted because I do think it's going to be an up and down sort of thing. But I do think Iowa will have another returner. But I'm right there with you. I mean, I have legitimate questions about Iowa's defensive line, especially defensive tackle. We don't know who the starting quarterback's going to be. I feel really good about the DJ Vanami, and I feel really good about the running back depth. They're going to go 4 deep. Again, I think there's stability of wide receivers. But the other part is, how are these FCS and group of 5 transfers, especially on the defensive end, how are they going to integrate themselves in Phil Parker's system and give them a chance to stand out? So, again, this is great since we're being able to preview all these other things. But I'm right there with you. I think there's a lot more meat on the bone when it comes to actually speculation about what this group could be. And, as crazy as it sounds, I'm usually pretty opinionated. I don't think there's a lot of wrong opinions because we just simply don't know.
Yeah, fair.
It's very difficult with this group to dig your heels in.
Not Iowa State difficult.
Right. That's a different level because you're talking about 80 new guys on the roster, but this is different than what we're used to, certainly with an Iowa football program and the lack of seniors also on the Iowa side with 10 scholarship seniors that are on this group. Yeah. That's going to be completely different. That goes hand in hand with recruiting. How big is this recruiting class going to be? We talked to Elliot last week. He mentioned that Sean thought it was going to be maybe upwards of 20 over there at HawkeyeInsider.com. That feels like a lot when he only got 10, and they got to get the transfer portal after the season wraps up here. What are you hearing on the recruiting ranks? And this is going to be a big month coming up here, the month of June. They have all the guys coming in for their official visits. Just take us a little inside Iowa Hawkeye football recruiting.
I got to tell you guys, I mean, I'm right there with Sean, as crazy as it sounds, but you also have to think about this. Do you know how many dudes are on this year's Iowa team that they probably should not count on coming back next season? Right. Because, I mean, I look at Trevor Lauk. I think Trevor Lauk's going to be a top 2-round NFL draft pick at left tackle, right? Cade Pieper could have left this past year and been arguably a first-round pick. You look at Zach Lutmer, who people, obviously Cooper DeJean's had a lot of success with the Eagles. Zach Lutmer, I don't think it's crazy to believe he could be a top 2-round draft pick if he has a great senior year. So while the senior number is dauntingly low, I also think you look at just the overall talent that, look, Iowa will only have a certain amount of NIL dollars. Will they want to attack the portal again? Will they want to, give Zach Lutmer an offer you couldn't refuse, or Cade Pieper or Trevor Lauk? I mean, another guy who nobody's really talking about, DJ Vanami is going to be eligible for the NFL draft.
I agree.
And, he grew up wanting to be a Hawkeye. We know what he could say. I'll tell you, I don't want to put too many expectations on, but I don't think it's crazy to believe that he could have one of the best tight end seasons in Iowa history. He simply has that kind of upside, man. His blocking's dramatically improved. He can get the ball downfield. His run after the catch is spectacular. He's powerful, takes care of the ball. There's really not a lot of flaws in his game. So, again, I would probably expect it to be around 20. And then, the other part is Iowa goes 4 deep at running back. All those guys have multiple years of eligibility. Again, I hate speculating this, but there's only so many carries, and there's a lot of talent in that room. So I think you have to basically say 20, and then if Iowa has to, have a Kate Gracier or give them enough NIL money where walking on makes it worth it, I think that's the route they have to go. But I don't envy Tyler Barnes' job as general manager and trying to manage everything that goes on in college athletics, because it is a mess, might be an understatement, to say the least.
No question about it. So the last couple of years, we've when it comes to running backs, there's been one that's kind of not snuck up, but certainly what maybe didn't get the conversation, the buzz around him, the hype that would ultimately fall his way based on his performance. Who do you think that guy is this year? Who's going to overachieve?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I don't want to say overachieve, but here's why I'm going to name the obvious one. Because his numbers should have been better last year. Kamari Moulton.
Yeah.
This is a guy who had 878 yards, 5 yards a carry. He only had 5 touchdowns, and he never broke 100 yards in the game. Look, LJ Phillips is going to be a big part of the equation as well. The South Dakota transfer, nearly 2,000 rushing yards last year. There's no question. I think Nathan McNeil is going to be tough to keep off the field. And then Xavier Williams also popped out, right? So Jay Norvell has adopted a very, very good group of the running backs. So, again, it's the obvious one, but you talk about a guy who I feel like has been on the cusp of breaking out, a guy that could consistently get you 8 to 10 yards. How many times was he tackled by his shoestrings last year, right? I think added strength in the lower half is going to really help him. I wouldn't be surprised if I think he's going to break the 1,000-yard mark, if not more than that. I think he's going to have 10 touchdowns this year. Like, Moulton's been a guy that I feel like just been behind the scenes doing all of the right things, doing whatever's been asked of him. Because, again, Mark Gronowski was great in a bunch of ways. But, guys, weren't his touchdowns a little bit inflated? Because it felt like Moulton would get them within the 3 or 4 yard line, and then Mark Gronowski would take it in. Again, legitimate strategy. I think Moulton has all the capabilities of being a top 5 ranked back in the Big Ten Conference. I think he can be that good.
Want to jump over to some basketball recruiting going on. There's a lot of stories about that up at HawkeyeInsider.com. But David, before we get to the men's side, on the women's side, they got a couple of portal additions last week. You cover the women's side of things at Hawkeye Insider. What can you tell us about those additions? Just depth pieces you could help them out in a not a huge way, but help in some capacity on the floor this season.
It's funny, Trent, because I do think they are ultimately depth pieces, but when you only have 11 players on the roster, I'm pretty sure everybody should have a shot at playing, right? So it does sound like that they are going to stick with 11 players on this year's roster. I mean, that puts a lot of pressure on the 27 recruiting class and that portal, obviously. But I also think you look at Iowa's backcourt, like, it's tough to sell a Power 5 caliber guard that they can come into Iowa system and make a difference, because look, Danny Carnegie and Chit Chat Wright, they're both going to be playing 30-plus minutes. Then you go down the D3 level. I think Bria Medina, I think it's a really great addition. 23 points a game last year at the D3 level, 5'6". Not really an outside shooter, only made 21 of them last season, only attempted 59, but she can get to the hoop, crafty mid-range jumper, 87% from the free throw line. And it's somebody that comes in without an ego, right? Like, I've talked to people behind the scenes. She didn't ask for any guarantee of playing time, didn't ask for any money. This is somebody who nearly decided not to play basketball in college at all. She's just grateful for the experience. Her average attendance last year, Trent and Ken, was 87 people a game. It's going to be quite different when there's 15,000 people in Carver Hawkeye. So I think that's a really nice piece. And then Lysandra Barrett's been adamant about trying to get over and have some international prospects. So for Iowa to go get another 4-year player in Ella Stromdal from Sweden, a potential stretch 4, plays in a really high level, over in Sweden. I think she's a nice addition. I would not anticipate her making an immediate impact, but be able to spread out those scholarships and at least showcase that she could be a potential 6'1", maybe a small lineup stretch 4 with Iowa going back to that 4-out offense. I think it's at least a solid pickup for sure.
Finally, on the men's side, there's been a lot of talk about Caden Doherty, a top 20 player in the country. Iowa amongst the finalists for him, a tremendous point guard. But they also offered another point guard in the class of 2027 this week with Tyrone Jamison. Does that make you concerned about Doherty, or, hey, we're just going to be fishing in a lot of different waters here? What can you tell us about point guard recruiting?
I think Iowa's become so accustomed to finishing, like being the best man. Like, it's always the bridesmaid, never the bride, right? If Iowa doesn't land a top 20 prospect, but they land a top 50 or 60, nobody's going to be complaining, right? But Sean Bach was in Memphis. You got to see them all firsthand. I wouldn't be of any concern, because you know what the problem is? If Caden Doherty ended up going to Michigan and Iowa finished second in that recruiting, what's everybody saying? Well, they shouldn't have put all their eggs in one basket. Right now they're playing from behind. So I think this is smart of McCollum and company. I think they've made it abundantly clear that, Caden's the top prospect that they want. And I think after watching him this weekend, guys, dropped 37 and 5 on 15 to 23 shooting. You can see why Ben McCollum's really going all in on him. But I think Iowa recruiting from an overall standpoint, I think there's a buzz on the national scene like there hasn't been in several years. But I'll tell you what, exactly what an Elite 8 run does.
Absolutely. You hit the magic words right there. Good stuff, David Eickholt. Appreciate the input. As always, we'll talk to you down the road, HawkeyeInsider.com. Thank you, David.
Appreciate you guys. Take care.
Yeah, good to talk to you, David Eickholt, as we check in on Iowa. All right, we'll do the same. Bill Seals, hopefully the Meet the Coaches opportunity that Bill was taking place with is wrapping up. He'll join us when we come back on the other side. It's the Iowa Sports Radio Network.
That was so good! Start your day off right with the first quarter with Heather Burnside and Alec Bussey. Weekdays from 6 to 9 on 106.3 KXnO and the Iowa Sports Radio Network.
Now here
Here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, deposit. That's deposit. Enter it now. KXnO.com.
I love cottage cheese. It's a great source of protein and goes with so many meals. And AE Dairy makes the absolute best. They've been making cottage cheese since the 1930s with so many flavors too, including AE Dairy's latest Parmesan garlic cottage cheese. Creamy AE Dairy cottage cheese meets bold Parmesan and garlic for a savory twist you didn't know you needed. AE Dairy Parmesan garlic cottage cheese is now in stores. Get product info and great recipes at aedairy.com.
Spring is sprung, and big savings are in full bloom at Menards. Visit Menards Garden Center for everything you need to get your garden growing. Choose from hundreds of beautiful, colorful flowers, lush trees and shrubs, and everything in between. Menards Garden Center is back in bloom. Stop in today to get your garden on. Check out fresh deals happening now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
At Kia of Des Moines, it's been 1 year since the unveiling of our new state-of-the-art showroom. So we're celebrating all month long. It's our anniversary sale, and you get the gift. Shop and save on all of your favorite new Kias with financing as low as 0.9% for 60 months. Don't miss the anniversary sale going on now at Kia of Des Moines. Shop KiaDM.com. With approved credit for well-qualified buyers. Valid on new 2026 Kia Sportage models. $1,705 per thousand finance monthly. Must finance through KMF. Expires 6/1/26.
In Des Moines, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers and on the sidelines. We cheer for gymnasts and quarterbacks. And with over 5,000 Chase branches nationwide, we're right beside you, Des Moines. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Iowa Mobotics has your yard covered. Their expert team installs and services advanced robotic mowers designed to handle lawns of any size, giving that manicured look without the work, offering reliable technology and local service you can trust. See how easy lawn care can be at iowamobotics.com.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. What are your rights and responsibilities? Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
We want you to come with us. Yep, Mrs. C and I are going to the birthplace of Western civilization, the place where democracy started, where philosophy started, literature, art, and architecture, Greece. We're going to Athens, to Mykonos, to Santorini, September the 5th through the 15th. Walk through history with me and Mrs. C in Athens, the ancient heart of Greece, with a guided visit to the legendary Acropolis. Then we can all escape to Mykonos, where we will have a wonderful tour through the charming Mykonos town. And that's where we're rolling up our sleeves and doing a Greek cooking class. I can't wait. Next, we get to go to Santorini. It's one of the most breathtaking islands in the Aegean. This is Greece at its finest. Culture, cuisine, unforgettable beauty. Space is limited, so call my friends at Allied Travel today. 515-270-7070. That's 515-270-7070. All you have to do is pack your bags.
The Cubs-Cardinals rivalry is back as the Iowa Cubs host the Memphis Redbirds May 19th through the 24th. 6 straight games where every pitch matters, plus Dog Day with a hot dog candle giveaway, Japan Night, Princess Day, and more. Get your tickets at iowacubs.com.
Ken Miller, Trent Condon, Miller and Condon on 106.3 KXnO and the Iowa Sports Radio Network.
$12:45, Miller and Condon, Iowa Sports Radio Network. 1 o'clock hour, Matt Snyder kicks it off. CBSSports.com covers Major League Baseball. Look forward to that weekly conversation. Matt Rudy will put a bow on the second major of the year, the PGA. Yeah, it was brutal. Let's talk to Bill Seals. He's covering the Meet the Coaches opportunity. The caravan is making its way across the state of Iowa. Bill, how are you? Trent and Ken, good to speak with you. Is it all wrapped up, Bill?
Yeah, it's all wrapped up, and a lot of interviews and a lot of information. Now it's time to go put it all together and report. Yeah, good.
Excellent stuff. We're going to call you right back to
Yeah.
understand the word you said. It does that on my DirecTV feed every now and then. You have to, I don't know, stop it and start it again. So we'll reconnect here with Bill Seals. That was tough. We apologize for that, but cell phones seemingly not much better in some spots than they were when they first came out. Yeah, look forward to catching up with Bill. I wonder if you could poll Cyclone fans, every age, every demographic, men, women, at Bussy's site, at Bill's site, at Chris's site. What's the one question that they have more than others? Let's get Bill back in here. Bill, that was unlistenable. I apologize. I don't know if it was you or us, but we never could we couldn't understand the words you said. So if you would just restart your answer, please.
Yeah, no, it was a good 45 minutes or so. We got Jimmy Rogers, TJ Otzelberger, Bill Fenley for a little bit, Jamie Pollard. So information overload, and it's time to go put it all together at CycloneReport.com. So lots of good stuff.
Good stuff. I when we were reconnecting with you, I know this is impossible to do, but I would love to know, if you could ask Cyclone fans only one question, what the one question that they have, regardless of sport, regardless of anything else, one question that you would like Iowa State to answer. What do you think that would be? Would it be a football question, a basketball, men or women's question, Cy-Town perhaps? What do you think it would be, Bill? What do Cyclone fans want answered more than anything else?
Oh gosh, I could go across each sport. I mean,
you only get
Jimmy
one.
Rogers, obviously. Oh, I only get one. Okay. Gosh, I actually think, women's basketball with all the transfers and the household names moving on and the influx of transfers coming in, the contract situation, I think that he's going to be a pretty, he's going to be pretty highly sought after, I think, this week. So I think that they're going to ask him, just how his last month has gone. And as far as the other sports, yeah, there's going to be a lot of interest there, but it seems like, Jimmy Rogers has made the rounds for several months now. Everybody's kind of gotten to know him, but this Fenley stuff and the women's basketball, the roster turnover, I think there's going to be that's going to be a pretty big one this week.
The tailgate tour, we talked about it, a couple weeks ago with the iClub circuit, much different than it once was. What is the Cyclone tailgate tour here in 2026? It's much shorter. It's not a whole evening most of the time. There's a couple of those overall, but as you've gone to these things for years, Bill, how's it changed?
Well, it's changed a lot. I've been doing this a long time, and it used to be, setting up shop and promoting a newspaper at a golf outing, and there'd be a banquet afterwards, and it just all small towns or counties had their Cyclone clubs, and they'd have outings, and the golf was beforehand. Then you'd talk to the coaches, administrators afterwards, and it's a lot different now. There's not the golf aspect. It's in over the course of 1 week. And that's even changed in the last few years. It used to be broken up over 2 weeks. They'd go 3 days across 2 weeks. Now that's changed. And I think Des Moines, they maybe missed the boat a little bit. I think today they had a great crowd in there, and it was for a show that was going to be from noon to 1, and then they're on their way to Eastern Iowa. But can you imagine if they'd had this thing at Hy-Vee Hall or back at the Recplex? They would have needed a facility 4 times the size because there was a huge crowd in there when I took off.
Interesting. Just the fan base seemingly not warming up. I mean, they're going to do as they're told. They always have. But are they all on board with the new regime of Cyclone football? What's the enthusiasm, I guess, meter from 1 to 10 when it comes to football, Bill?
Well, I think that it's probably in the 7 to 8 range. Okay. Maybe that increases a little bit this week. That Jimmy Rogers is gonna get some face time around a ton of Cyclone fans around the state. I think outside sources have the expectation level pretty low for this team. But I think the excitement level is high, though, just because of, they're seeing what the coaching staff brought in transfers and kind of what the short-term outlook looks like. And they're also recruiting pretty well, I think, here early on as well. So they're kind of seeing, the fruits of this staff's labor and how that could look over a longer term.
So you had something interesting. Our buddy Mark Hanrahan was on the bump as Iowa State baseball 25 years ago played in their final game. Certainly a sad one for so many Cyclone fans, baseball being what it is, certainly inside of our world. Bill, take us back to the memories, and we see women's wrestling is going to be added. The question comes up often. Usually the answer is a pretty quick no. Baseball ever returning to Iowa State, but a lot of memories, but a lot of frustration over this last quarter century when you see how good Big 12 baseball is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really is. And there's a lot of, pretty much now, the way, you can watch any Big 12 team on TV anytime you want with like ESPN Plus or Unlimited or what have you now. And it just seems like, it would be a great opportunity, but I don't foresee it happening. It seems like cutting is the way now at this level, just because you're paying players now, and Title IX is going to limit what you could ever add probably in a men's sport where you got X amount of scholarships. But my memory of that last game is I think I actually was coming back from Ames, and it might have been like a spring football type of thing or whatever, and listening to that game on the radio.
Really?
And Iowa State winning that game. Yeah, I think they had it on KASI, had all the home games in Ames, 1430 back then, had all the Iowa State baseball games. And I can remember listening to that one. Yeah, and it was just, and I think they came back and maybe even like walked it off, or they had come back from behind and held on for the win. One of those two. But yeah, it was definitely a memorable last win for the baseball program.
Good stuff. Bill Seals, CycloneReport.com, part of the Rival/On3 network. Bill, is this your only stop on the tailgate tour? Will you catch up a couple more times?
I think I got everything I needed today, guys. It was pretty wide-ranging stuff from all of the coaches and the AD. So, lots of good stuff to come out of that. I was going to tell you too, Kenny, you're always asking me about River Peppers.
Yes.
And we got a River Peppers update today from Jimmy Rogers.
And
they're expecting him to be back in less than a year from when that injury happened. So it sounds like he could maybe impact this team ahead of Big 12 play. So I think that changes the outlook a lot at running back. Yeah. They've got a kid on campus, a Tulane transfer starting today. So good news on the River Peppers. That would make your day.
Absolutely. He's got a great name. Bill Seals, CycloneReport.com. You do a great job, Bill. Thanks for doing this, buddy. We'll talk to you. Well, we're all off on Monday, so we'll grab you early next week. Thanks, Bill Seals. Appreciate it.
Yep, looking forward to it, guys. Have a good one.
Yep, good to talk to you. You know what is? So I'm off the next couple of days. Can we have Mark Hanrahan on Thursday?
Yeah, absolutely.
See, so I'm trying to think back to being on the air back in that time. It wasn't the major story that it would have been today, I don't think. And maybe that's just I'm at fault. Maybe. I don't know why it wasn't a bigger story. Certainly we discussed it,
right?
But it didn't get the, I don't think the coverage, the following that it should have.
My great uncle was on one of the College World Series teams.
Was he?
1957. Yes.
Mark Hanrahan, if you're listening, I'm going to text you and line this up for Thursday. Good stuff. Hour 2 coming up next. Matt Snyder joins the program. Little baseball conversation. Matt Rudy as well. Miller and Condon on the Iowa Sports Radio Network.
Quick question. Want to go to Vegas with KXnO? We're giving away the Circa Silver Anniversary Experience. Flights, Circa Hotel, food money, stadium swim, sportsbook VIP access, and nights out with the KXnO crew. All for one lucky winner and a guest. And 5 more winners still get the Vegas hookup. You've got until June 28th to enter. Don't hear about it later. Be there. Only from KXnO and Circa.
Sign up now at KXnO.com.
It's finally time to get rid of our old sliding glass door, the one that leaks, is hard to open and close, and is just worn out. H&H Windows and Doors is installing a new sliding glass door, plus replacing some of our old basement windows too. We love going to H&H Windows and Doors because they're a small, locally owned family business, and they know how to take care of their customers. Plus, there's low overhead because all windows and doors are made to order. You can ask about their interest-free financing and a lot of options for every budget too. One of the best things you can do for your home's energy efficiency, home value, and curb appeal is replace old windows and doors. H&H Windows and Doors has over 20 years of installation experience and free in-home consultations. Call 515-216-4901. That's 515-216-4901, or go to hhwindoor.com. Tell them Heather said they could help.
Sometimes the key to feeling better comes from just being seen for what you need. Urology Center of Iowa has a dedicated men's health wellness center with services from low testosterone to managing the effects of aging. But more than that, UCI is the place to go when you want to be seen like a man, not like a patient. You don't want someone else's treatment. You deserve yours. Schedule an appointment with UCI today at iowauro.com. That's iowauro.com. Urology Center of Iowa. Schedule your appointment today.
She needs an adult in her life to hang out with or go to the movies with. But it's not about the activity, it's about having a mentor. Someone who shows up, listens, and shares a laugh. Someone like you. There are kids in your community who want guidance from someone who cares. If you believe in the value of giving back, become a mentor. A message from Iowa HHS and your local provider.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I've got a personal question. At what point did you stop calling it pain and start calling it, that's just how I am now? Well, that's not okay. And deep down, you know it. So let's get back the you who is active and carefree. And the medical team at QC Kinetics is ready to help with their long-lasting regenerative treatments for joint pain. My right knee was really bothering me from a couple of knee surgeries many years ago. And QC Kinetics got me walking, lifting, and golfing again pain-free. They're helping patients with pain from arthritis or injury in their knees, shoulders, hips, lower back. Now, all of these same people are moving, sleeping, golfing, and running without surgery or long recoveries. This is just getting back to being you. And the longer inflammation sits, the more damage it does. So let's schedule that free consultation today. Call QC Kinetics at 515-259-1227. That's 515-259-1227 for QC Kinetics. Tell them Heather said they could help.
My mission is improving lives, whether it's my team or my clients. And with so much turbulence in the world, can we really put a price tag on peace of mind? Your old buddy Brian here from Service Legends. And in my world, here's what peace of mind looks like to improve your life. So I pulled the data on our top-notch tune-ups from last year. 98.2% of the systems we maintained are still running like clockwork. I truly believe that's what homeowners like you really want. No breakdowns and getting the absolute most life out of your system. True peace of mind. I have so much confidence in my home comfort heroes and the job they do for Service Legends clients that I'm putting this ironclad 1-year guarantee on the line this summer. In the outside chance your AC does have a challenge after one of our top-notch tune-ups, I'm not only going to refund the cost of your tune-up, I will fix it for free. Look, not all AC tune-ups are created equal. And clearly, not all guarantees are either.
Call 515-COMFORT. We fix it right or it's free. Service Legends.
KXnO AM Des Moines, KXnO FM Ankeny, KKTM HD2 Des Moines. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, sports talk, and podcasts.
Miller and Condon on 106.3 KXnO
is sponsored by TC Sports, LLC.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Golf does something few sports can. It takes the improbable and every so often makes it real. That truth always feels larger at the majors, where the sport's deepest fields and most difficult courses are supposed to favor the game's biggest names. Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, the stars everybody expects to own the majors. But occasionally, you find an underdog. This PGA Championship was supposed to belong to the game's elite. Instead, it belonged to Aaron Rai. He came in at plus 17,500 to win the Wanamaker Trophy. By the odds, his path was considered less likely than the Raiders winning the Super Bowl or Michael Penix Jr. taking home the NFL MVP. Absurd, and yet here we are. An incredible four-day stretch highlighted by one improbable putt delivering one of the year's more unexpected finishes. That's the beauty of the game, and it was on full display this weekend at the PGA Championship. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. These days, everybody's searching for ways to save on insurance, scrolling comparison sites, digging through tips, chasing deals. But Liberty Mutual makes it simple. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance to save you money. And when you bundle, those savings really start to come through. It's insurance built for real people with a team that helps you keep what matters most, money. No hassle, just confidence that your coverage is customized with savings in mind. Get a quote at libertymutual.com or with your local independent agent. Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it really easy. Fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and the best selection of Yokohama tires. Go to TireRack.com/Dan, see their Yokohama test results, tire ratings, and reviews, and be sure to check out all the special offers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Congratulations to KXnO on their silver anniversary and 25 years on the air in Iowa, being the home of sports talk radio.
We're giving you a chance to experience everything Circa has to offer with a trip along with your favorite KXnO personalities.
The next KXnO Silver Ticket Tour will bring you to Las Vegas and Circa for 4 days, 3 nights. Go to KXnO.com to sign up and have a chance to experience Circa with KXnO and the Iowa Sports Radio Network.
And we hope to see you soon at Circa.
106.3 KXnO. Ken Miller, Trent Condon. This is Miller and Condon on the Iowa Sports Radio Network.
Hour number 2, Miller and Condon. Welcome back, Iowa Sports Radio Network. Trent and Ken with you until just before 2. Bottom of the hour, Matt Rudy covers golf and has for decades. He'll join us to recap the PGA. Unjuiced.bet sponsors our weekly conversation with our baseball guy. He's Matt Snyder, CBSSports.com, and he's with us. Matt, Trent, and Ken, good to talk to you, Matt Snyder. You know where I want to start with you? It was we had the crossover series, we had the rivalry weekend type thing this past weekend. I kind of still like it. It was obviously we've done it for a while now, and maybe some of the novelties worn off with some of them, but there's still some juice to these series. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I still think it's funny that look, it's very difficult for Major League Baseball to schedule 15 matchups and to try to call all of them rivalries. It's difficult, but I understand that. But I do think it's funny that there aren't actual rivalries. Like the biggest rivalries in baseball are Cubs, Cardinals, Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, these are all the interleague matchups instead. However, yeah, it's cool. Like Mets, Yankees, Cubs, White Sox, stuff like that. It
just lost you. Are you there?
Really fun over the weekend. Yes.
Good stuff. We just broke up for a second.
Yeah.
We got you.
So
okay.
Over the weekend, we see the White Sox take 2 out of 3. They looked competent.
Mm-hmm.
It was more White Sox than I was anticipating I was going to be watching in the middle of May, but here we are, and I think they're
Been
going
a long
to
time, I'm guessing.
absolutely. They're starting to kind of wedge their way in here as we're surrounded by 6 different Major League Baseball teams, and they're starting to get a little bit of at least TV2, still not TV1, but they're getting there. Is this sustainable though? Terrible division. Obviously, you don't feel, maybe Cleveland could run away, but doesn't feel highly likely. Can this thing hang on? Can they even get to the middle of the season still with the shot with this White Sox squad?
Yeah, I think so. I think, look, they're fun enough. And by the way, I love that you mentioned.
Oh, no.
Lost him again.
But there's 6 different colors on the blackout map.
Yes.
Look, yeah, I like to power through the middle lineup. Murakami, Colson Montgomery, Miguel Vargas. That's really, really scary when you're an opposing team. And I would know firsthand because I just watched the
yep.
Cubs. And every time you got to the middle of the lineup, I thought, we can't pitch to these guys. What can you do here? And when Vargas came up yesterday against Colin Ray, I actually texted my dad and brother and said, I think we should take Ray out before this batter. Sure enough, Vargas doubled in the gap and drove home 2 runs, and all of a sudden the game was tied. There's a feistiness to them. And it looks like Davis Martin right now is pitching like an ace. It looks like they've kind of figured out the back end of the bullpen. They've got power. They can play good defense in spots. They have speed at times. I think they can hang around. It's mostly because it's a weak division. I don't think they're much better than mediocre, but that might be all you need in this division. So, yeah, I think they can hang around.
We're going to call you right back. You see, you're breaking up periodically here, Matt. We'll call you right back.
Man,
okay.
Sorry.
That's no problem. Okay. We'll call you right back. Matt Snyder, CBSSports.com. We'll hook up with him. Hopefully we won't lose some of his answer and at portions of our little 15-minute piece or so with him. A lot of ground to cover. We talk baseball with him each and every Monday, and both TC and I love this spot, and we got a lot of ground to cover. In fact, going to get next to the worst team in Major League Baseball, and maybe one of Major League Baseball's superstars. This might be the time for him to ask his way out. Let's get back to Matt Snyder, CBS Sports. Matt, I want to go to the worst team in baseball who had the unfortunate situation of sharing the city with maybe the best team in baseball. The Angels, when it comes to Mike Trout, right? There has to be a time when Trout just says, I've been a good foot soldier. I've been here my entire career. I keep waiting for that opportunity for this team to turn a corner. They're so far away from turning that corner. If indeed this is the year, is there a team or two that make more sense? I know the Braves are already, at least that's out there. Does the Phillies maybe make the most sense of any? Where do you think, if Trout leaves, who do you think will be the pursuer that ultimately gets him?
It's difficult. You would think that it would come to it. All right, enough's enough. But, it's hard to get inside someone's head, and he's never done anything but he wants to stay. The Phillies immediately come to mind because he's a South Jersey guy. He's a big Eagles fan, for example. He's always been all over the Philly sports, and there's a natural connection because we always Harper, Mike Trout, and Manny Machado all came up around the same time, so you always connect those three. Bryce Harper on the Phillies are a contender. It feels like it's a good fit. And surely they're going to go for it, right? They're a perennial playoff team. They haven't won the World Series with this current group, so they would make sense.
He's 35 in August. I mean, how much time's he got left, Trout?
Exactly. You're right. The Braves do make sense as well. I wonder about the Yankees. If the Yankees would throw their hat in the ring there, maybe not. It's difficult because we haven't had any substantial rumors when it comes to him, so it's all speculative. Braves and Phillies kind of feels like that's it. Like it's one of those two. Just initially eyeballing it.
Want to go back to Chicago, back to the South Side, and PCA back in the spotlight again. In the past, he's ripped a California guy, ripped Dodger fans. They're not as passionate as Chicago fans. He's always in the mix, and we've had fun with PCA. Ken and I have gone back and forth. I know I've told you before, Matt. He just doesn't seem like my kind of guy. Not a Cubs fan. Doesn't seem like a guy that I'd probably want to hang out with, but that doesn't matter. He's a baseball player. Still, there is a wide range of opinions. I think this, depending on if you fly a W flag after a victory or not, of where he is. When you saw that, the altercation, I'm sure you saw the different camera angles also that came out of it. Just your takeaway, also with the caveat, you are a Cubs fan.
Yeah. So no, I don't think you should do that. But I also think these players are human, and it's easy to forget that they're human beings just like the rest of us, and there are emotions that happen. I like that he wears his heart on his sleeve. I've said that for a long, long time. Going back, I said it about Javier Baez. We could keep going all the way back. For some reason, it rubs people who are not fans of the team the wrong way when a guy wears his heart on his sleeve like that and is an emotional guy. I guess I'm a little lost as like what's so bad about him. Like obviously he shouldn't have done that, but again, he's human. You react in the moment, whatever. It's not like he hurt anybody. I mean, it's it's words. But I guess I'll ask you, Trent, since that he's not your type of guy. Like, what's so bad about him?
Honestly, he just seems douchey. I mean, it's as simple as that. It really is. He just he doesn't seem like.
You know what? It's a gut feel.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of people. I've been unable to understand it, but I probably don't need to get too deep into it. I think it's a gut feel for a lot of people. Then.
And the bride, once it was an engagement party, the bride to be went to the ballpark knowing with the plan of picking a fight with PCA. I mean, the boyfriend / fiance came out in the paper today and said, we knew we were going to do this. We didn't think it was going to get the coverage that it did. Well, I mean, come on. This thing blew up. I'm a fan.
You not know that?
Right, exactly.
That was going to happen.
I'm a huge fan. I love watching him play defense. Love watching him run the bases in the batter's box. That's another story. I can certainly understand the back and forth.
I'll say this. I'll say this, and I know that there were, and there's an undertone of bias here because I am a Cubs fan. But I will say this: from personal interactions in the clubhouse, legitimately one of the nicest guys I've come across in the clubhouse. He's made extra time for me. There were times that there were coaches that said, you don't have time to do this, and he still tried to make it for me. He's really, really nice in the clubhouse.
Stop ruining this for me, Snyder.
You want to hate him.
Sorry, I shouldn't have said anything.
Hey, I want to know how Kevin Cash keeps doing this with the Rays. I mean, this is one of the more every single year, seemingly. This team shouldn't be there, yet there they are.
No, it really, I mean, if you look at, so offensively, Junior Caminero, great.
Yeah.
Probably on his way to being a legit superstar. Yandy Diaz, we know about him. We know he's a good hitter. Jonathan Aranda, pretty good hitter. That's about it when you look at the offense. And then you go to the rotation, and Nick Martinez was bad for the Reds last years. Got a 1.51 ERA and 9 starts so far. Drew Rasmussen, Shane McClanahan, very good. But other than that, I mean, you look at the rest of the pitching staff going on through the bullpen and everything, it just, they should not be this good, but it's what they do. They've long been a zig when everybody else zags.
Yeah.
One thing I find very interesting about the team right now is for a long time, you go back to the Moneyball A's when on base percentage was hey.
We got squirrels in the phone lines today.
Something's going on here.
It is.
Average teams in baseball right now.
Yeah.
So it's like it's cyclical, and the batting average is coming back.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I just take a look at the starters on this team, and I love the game. I'm not sure I can name 4. Maybe I'd set the number at 2.5. It truly is. It's a lineup of guys that I don't know where they came from. There's a couple of veterans in there. Gavin Lux, obviously, he's got rings. He was part of a parade, but it's just a lineup that just, I don't know how they do it especially in that division, Matt.
Yeah. And that division right now, 3 of the more disappointing teams in baseball.
Oh, for sure.
You've got the Rays are amazing. The Yankees still pretty good, even though they went 2-7 on that bad road trip. But the Jays, Orioles, Red Sox, at least Sox you would say are very disappointing, and a lot of people thought the Orioles had bounce back potential, and it's just not there so far. So man, kudos to the Rays.
Yep, no doubt.
Speaking of disappointing teams in the American League, let's go to the Pacific Northwest, where Seattle made some headlines over the weekend. Colt Emerson is up. Now, they handed out the big contract before he ever played an MLB game. $95 million guaranteed, 8-year contract that was handed out on April Fool's Day on April 1st. But Emerson's up. changing the fortunes here? And what should be an expectation for a guy that's just 20 years old trying to help out this Mariner offense?
You might look at Connor Griffin of the Pirates, who started really, really slow. And in the last, it's like 22, 23 games, he's hitting 325 and starting to look like he's starting to get it. It's something like baseline expectation, because this is a really, really hard game. And the pitchers are so good nowadays. It's an exponential leap from AAA to the majors. I remembered one time I was talking to a scout, and I said something like, well, it seems like the AA to AAA jump is the hardest one, and and he went, oh, no. It's AAA to the majors. The majors is just a totally different level. So, maybe struggles for a little bit, but then there's so much talent there. You would expect things to click maybe a month in or so, something like that. And as you said, Trent, very, very disappointing for the Mariners right now to be 4 games under. But hey, sometimes geography can help you, because they're only 2 games at first, being 4 under.
Well, when you look at it like that, can the Phillies catch the Braves?
Probably not. But 8 games right now is workable. I know it seems like it's insurmountable and everything, but we've seen from the middle of May to the end of the season, 8 games is definitely workable. I don't think they will. I think the Braves are better. And if you just said true talent level, are the Phillies really 8 games better than the Braves for the rest of the season? I don't see that happening. But there's some head-to-heads left in there.
6 of them,
and they're playing really, really good baseball right now. I think they're very interesting to me in the extremes on their schedule, because when they were really, really bad, they only played the Cubs and Braves for 2 weeks. And you could just say, well, it's because of the schedule. They just had a really hard schedule. But to lose 10 in a row is awfully extreme. Since then, they've played Giants, Marlins, A's, Rockies, Red Sox, Pirates. Doesn't seem like that strong of a schedule, but man, 15-4, that's difficult against any schedule. So they've been all over the place on the extreme.
When did they change managers? Can we pinpoint to that day that they turned a corner when Mattingly took over? Do you remember what day it was?
Yeah, Monday, April 27th.
It was that. Okay.
Yeah, so they were 9-19, and they're 15-4 since then.
There you go.
Part of it is
Colorado,
when
Pittsburgh,
you're looking for
Miami.
when you're looking for a bit of a vibe shift.
Yeah,
you think we're coming off a really hard schedule. We've got an easy schedule coming up, and I always go back to thinking about the Bull Durham quote when Crash Davis said, "If you think that's why you're winning, then you are." You can kind of see mentally, hey, let's change managers. There'll be a vibe shift. And then if you start winning, if you think you're winning because you changed the managers, then you are. So maybe mentally there was a little bit of a change there, but I do not think it was just because they changed managers. I think it was a lot of other variables. Zach Wheeler getting back in the rotation instead of Taijuan Walker was one of those. Brandon Marsh going crazy. Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper doing Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper things. A lot of variables there.
And playing the Giants, and then playing the Fish, and then playing the A's, and then playing Colorado and Boston and Pittsburgh. Yeah, that has a lot to do with it. You're right. You look at the schedule in advance of making a move. I agree.
Matt, we talked a week ago about loose bodies in the elbow with Skubal, and we had this earlier this year with Edwin Diaz. Now, Blake Snell. Is this injury becoming more prevalent just because of obviously the wear and tear that we're seeing with these guys chucking up there? Is it just a weird thing that everything's grouped together and we have 3 major names that are having this kind of surgery? Or is this something new where instead of going through something that is more reconstructive, they go in there and something that you can return during the course of the season? Help me out with loose bodies, because I certainly don't remember it at this volume.
I think it's one of those things where it had probably always been an injury, but for a long time, maybe it went undiagnosed, or for a long time they called it something else, but it might be becoming more prevalent because of how hard guys throw nowadays. I mean, I talked to an orthopedic surgeon and I asked him about it, and he said the throwing motion, every single time you throw something overhanded as hard as you can, the bones kind of hit together in your elbow. And if you do that over and over and over, eventually something's going to chip off of there. So I think it's probably a combination of myriad factors, and part of it is just how hard they throw nowadays.
The Brewers continue their climb up the division in the Central. Are they going to overhaul the Cubs?
I'll stick with the Cubs for my Central Division winner prediction, but I would be very surprised if at some point the Brewers were not in first place. Maybe as soon as Wednesday, the way things are going right now. The Cubs with that 3-6 road trip. Now, Cubs are 18-5 at home though, so returning home, maybe you get the good vibes of Wrigley, but it certainly feels. I'll just say I have an ominous feeling about the series coming up, and it just feels like, they're going to be in first place in 3 days.
They are year after year. Ken mentioned it with the Rays, and though they've had a couple of dips, even those dips don't feel like they're happening anymore with Milwaukee, and people have changed, names have changed. I mean, Yelich is a shell of himself. He's been banged up for a big portion of the season. Is it
just doesn't matter? Yep.
Do you go back to drafting? Is it finding those guys under the radar? How do you put together these two organizations, specifically Tampa and Milwaukee? How are they able to consistently win with the shoestring budget that they have year after year?
Yeah, I would throw the Guardians in there too.
Yeah,
those
absolutely
are just exceptional at getting the absolute most out of the players on their roster. And when they decide to cut bait, whether offseason Freddie Peralta to the Mets, or when they decided to trade Josh Hader and promote Devin Williams, but then they traded Devin Williams last year. They must be unbelievably good at knowing themselves, knowing their operations. There's a system in place where they get the most out of the talent on the team. And obviously it doesn't always work out. I mean, we've seen some players be disappointing, but for the most part, it pretty much seems to always work out. And at some point, that's not an accident. At some point, that's just how good they are at developing talent, knowing themselves, knowing how to get the most out of their guys. I can't say enough about their front office operations. They are amazing.
What have we got? We've got Sproat versus Imanaga, Edge Cubs. Then we got Mizorowski Brown tomorrow, Edge Brew Crew. And what's the getaway game? Harrison Cabrera. That's a pretty good 3-game series. That's pretty damn good right there.
And I would say, when you say Mizorowski, Ben Brown, I do not disagree, but man, Brown has been
so
good.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's like a sneaky great pitching matchup there.
No doubt. What's your Tuesday like next week? We're off Monday.
I'm good.
Good. So are we. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, Matt Snyder. I love talking to you. Thanks.
Take care.
Yep. Good to talk to you. Matt Snyder, CBSSports.com. Brought to you by
Unjuiced.bet. It is a place where you can go take a look at a bunch of different props. You can find all kinds of things on Unjuiced. If you like arbitrage betting, that is taking one side at one sportsbook, taking the other side at the other sportsbook, and you guarantee yourself a profit, that has that set up for you. Positive EV, Major League Baseball, NBA, WNBA. They got props available, the top props of the day, hit metrics. You like to go inside the numbers. Unjuiced.bet. Become a better in the prop market with Unjuiced.bet. And you can get 30% off right now. Use the code KXnO at Unjuiced.bet. First week is free and 30% off with the code KXnO.
Be a better.
Like that one?
DERBETTOR. Better. Good stuff. All right. Matt Rudy joins us next. Trent's plays of the day still to come. Circa Sports sponsor those. Game 7 in hockey tonight. Are you going to put it in?
I don't know. I don't have a good feel.
Neither do I.
And looking at it sight unseen, this has been toss up. You can't get a feel of the series. I would probably just take the plus money and probably just go that route.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the direction that I go, but I haven't even looked at it. What kind of plus? Well, it's basically even. I see
it
at this first sight. Sabres minus 112. And if it's true, then it's minus.
Will the Buffalo fans keep the Canadians out of the building? It just jumps off your TV. All the red, white, and blue. Well, mostly red. They wear their home sweaters.
And that red just pops.
It pops.
It does.
And it's a 6-hour drive, and they're trying to get it in mass to this game tonight.
I'm looking at Circa right now. Sabres minus 116, Canadians plus 104.
All right, I take the Canadians.
That's, I think, the direction I'm going
And
to go.
I don't feel great about it. I just, I have no feel for this game. Miller and Condon, Matt Rudy next. We'll put a bow on the PGA. It's the Iowa Sports Radio Network.
Get off the bench and into the game with Sean Roberts and Lucas Strain. Tune in weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. on 106.3 KXnO and the Iowa Sports Radio Network.
This June, the Legends of Golf return to Des Moines. The 2026 Principal Charity Classic at Wakanda Club, June 10th through 14th, where legends of the game compete and every swing helps support Iowa youth. Bring the whole family. Tickets start at just $25 and kids 15 and under get in free. Get your tickets now at principalcharityclassic.com. The Principal Charity Classic, because out here, it's more than golf.
You've heard me rave about Kitchen Refresh. They updated our kitchen in just a few days for a fraction of the cost of the custom cabinets that I was pricing out with no demo. That's why Kitchen Refresh has installed over 500 kitchens. You can still use your space while they work. You don't even have to empty cabinets. Your kitchen, bath, bar, or laundry room will get a completely new look with lightning fast speed without sacrificing quality. Go to kitchenrefreshiowa.com for your free in-home consultation. Tell them Heather said they could help.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. What are your rights and responsibilities? Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
As your dealer for life, the Carl Auto Group has been taking care of small companies and fleet owners the same way for over 45 years, with a handshake and a promise. Our business elite professionals are here for you as we begin 2026. See how we can help upgrade your fleet and save on a new Chevrolet, GMC, or Ram fleet vehicle. Or learn how our fleet management program can help business owners increase vehicle uptime, reduce cost per mile, or lower operating expenses. With dealerships located in Ankeny, Stewart, Glidden, Webster City, and Marshalltown, we make it easy to service your fleet. We invite you to visit carlauto.com to view our complete work truck and fleet inventory.
Your dealer for life, it's the Carl way.
Class of 2026, it's your year. Celebrate the music that fueled late night crams, hallway hangs, and every unforgettable moment with iHeartRadio's Ultimate Class of 2026 playlist. The soundtrack to your senior year and beyond. But we didn't stop there. Whether you graduated in 95, 05, or just last year, we've got a playlist for your class too. Search Class of and the year you graduated on the free iHeartRadio app and relive your glory days, one song at a time.
More with Miller and Condon in 60 seconds, right here on 106.3 KXnO.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
For 25 years, 106.3 KXnO has been the heartbeat of Iowa sports. From Friday Night Lights to championship dreams, we've been there for every play. Here's to the fans, the teams, and the passion that keeps us going. 106.3 KXnO, Des Moines sports station for 25 years and counting. Miller and Condon on 106.3 KXnO and the Iowa Sports Radio Network.
$1:30 on a Monday as we take a look back at the weekend that was in the world of sports. Trent Condon, Ken Miller, back with you. It's Miller and Condon on the Iowa Sports Radio Network. And Matt Rudy, our next guest, I was telling him, Ken, during the break there that you were fired up.
Yes.
Didn't feel like a major.
It did. Matt, good to talk to you. Appreciate the contribution as always. You know, I thought, Matt, when they changed from August to the event from August on the calendar to May, that this was one of the most impactful changes on the sports calendars that we've seen in a while. I don't feel like that anymore, Matt Rudy. I don't know what it is. Because August, obviously, we're all football crazy. You know where we live in the Midwest, and you went to Michigan State. You know what it's like there. I just thought it was going to work well in May. I think I'm wrong, Matt. Where are you on this?
Well, I mean, are you thinking about that because of the marquee value of the guy that won this week? Or if you look at the last few years, though, they've had good winners.
Yeah,
Scotty Scheffler is a good winner, and Schauffele's a good winner. I mean, I think they get a much more even experience in terms of the weather. I think they can pick from other courses that might not be so pleasant to play in. I guess you could say that having a sauna in August could be part of the challenge. Like this is, that's the physical challenge major where you could have heat stroke. I mean, I think May is the right time. And I give the PGA of America credit because they have a fantastic field. Mm-hmm. They're willing to bring the live guys in so that you can see Jon Rahm playing in a major. So you can see, the guys that would not be exempt. Cam Smith played well the century. And you could want. There was a full leaderboard. There were marquee guys, and then by all accounts, the nicest human on the PGA Tour
really
won the tournament. So I think that was a good outcome.
Yeah, his wife's got some game too. Watching the par 3 at the Masters. My gosh, he could hit it.
It's got a swing, no doubt.
The Women's European Tour.
That's awesome.
Matt, this course, I was concerned going into it, as we talked about on Wednesday leading in, that it was going to feel like the John Deere Classic. And no offense to our friends in the Quad Cities, but I wondered with a course like this, the trees that were cleared out, how it was going to play. It played well, and it got dried out, and it was breezy, and that thing was fast. But then it led the other way, where the U.S. Open, I'm used to that kind of test. I like a test a year when it comes to the majors, but maybe it was just yesterday, and I felt like every time I flipped it on and got over to it, somebody was missing a putt, opportunities, and nobody could push down that door. Just your overview on the course and the way this played out, and something that, of course, you think can be part of the future and part of the rotation going forward.
Well, I look at the guy.
Matt, we're going to have to try you back again.
Yeah, Matt, we're losing. I think we've got a bad phone line. We'll call you right back. Matt Rudy will call right back.
And I've used multiple phone lines here.
I'm starting to think it's us.
And I don't even know if it's us or is there something with Verizon or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 3 straight.
And that's on Eastern Country. Snyder's in Indiana. I don't know. It's good, and we apologize to our audience. We're something like this to the answers to our questions. To get and do Trent plays today. Still to come. Circa Sports will sponsor those. Matt, I think it's a Verizon problem. We're having trouble. It's not you on your end. So, if you recall, go ahead.
I was going to say, the guy who won the tournament, I think he played the last 6 or 7 holes 5 under. He made eagle. He made birdies. He made a big long putt on the 17th hole. I think the guy who played the best won the tournament. Mm-hmm. He made putts when he needed to make them. He made short putts. He made long putts. I think the course, you couldn't ask for a better setup. I think 9 under won the tournament, and that's a decently low score, but it's not 22 under or something like that. I think the course acquitted itself very well. Just watching, I was looking around and I saw Scotty playing a hole, and he had a 3-wood. He had a great tee shot, and he had a 3-wood into a par 4. I mean, when was the last time you saw that on the PGA Tour? So, I think it tested every part of a player's game. and there was a drivable par 4, so you could take a chance if you wanted to. They had some long par 3s. I think it was a nice mix.
Yeah, we saw Rory drive that green. We saw Scotty with a points from all weekend long. You told me about John Rahm before anybody had ever heard of John Rahm, and you ultimately would become John Rahm and win those tournaments as he has. I'm starting to wonder, is Ludwig Aberg, with the exception of leaving and going to live, etc., kind of following the same career path that, he keeps getting close, and then one of these years he's going to break through as Rahm did? He seemed to be a guy that's been on our radar, and Rahm was on yours before anybody else. But Aberg's been on Trent's for sure. And I just feel like it's coming. Just don't know when, because he's got all the tools, right?
I think that's a fantastic comparison, and I think even more than John Rahm, he looks like. His swing is just incredible to watch. He just looks like he's going to win the tournament. And I think what when you get to great players like that, you almost forget he's only been around for 2 years. This is the beginning of year 3. And it takes some time to figure these things out. Scotty Scheffler needed an entire first year on the PGA Tour where he didn't win anything. And we started talking about how when was he going to do it and when was he going to do it. And I think your comparison is right on. Once the light goes on and you start to win these, Xander Schauffele was the same way. I know I've spoke on your show a bunch of times, ahead of Schauffele winning 2 majors in the same year, that was a guy who was right there on the cusp. And all of a sudden he wins the PGA and he goes and wins the British Open. Because there's just that one piece that you need to discover and be in contention. And Oberg's done it at the Masters, and now he's done it at the PGA Championship. And I think that's definitely a guy that's on the come.
We talked about at the top with you, Matt, about the potential moving back the PGA to August. One of the think pieces I was reading last week brought up the idea, and I really like this thought, is if you keep the calendar as it's currently constructed, Masters in April, PGA in May, of course, then what we get with the U.S. Open and the British, that the playoffs that fall flat, even I think for a lot of casual golf fans by the time we get into August, is potentially putting a couple of those on the West Coast and leading into some primetime golf in August where we get a couple of West Coast venues. Is that something that makes sense for you and for the casual, not the hardcore golf person, not for the people that Matt, but more the people that are with us, to get the casuals back involved with it, some West Coast playoff golf? Is that something that could pop for the PGA Tour?
I think it could, and I actually think putting some PGA Tour playoff events worldwide would be pretty cool. Have them be in prime time, but have them be in a different international environment. You want to take away the argument that the PGA Tour is too provincial and too America-based. Have some of the playoffs be somewhere else. Have them be in the UK, have them be in Asia, have them be in Africa. I think adding some exotic aspect to it like that. I wish there was a way that one of the majors could be international, in a different international spot every year. I don't think you could do that with a PGA of America event, but having something or a U.S. Open, but having that piece to it, whether it's a West Coast event or an international flair, I think anything that gives somebody a different look, puts players. And I think that's why the Open Championship is my favorite, because it puts people in a different look. The golf courses don't look the same. The strategy is different. The weather's different. I think having some different factors as opposed to standard golf course 101 is what makes it fun to watch.
Let's talk about Shinnecock. That's where the U.S. Open will be played in about a month's time from right now. If memory serves, you like this course, right? And this can be a real you-know-what as far as leading to some very difficult rounds for some of the best players in the world. Your thoughts on Shinnecock?
Oh yeah, I mean, depending on what the weather is, we had a super wet spring in the Northeast, and so I don't know how easy it's going to be to make it as firm and fast as they would want to have it. But that place, if it gets baked out and it gets windy, it's like playing in the parking lot, and all of a sudden the greens start turning purple, and you got people out there stringing the greens in between groups just to keep them alive. Trent, I know you love it super hard. Yet you're going to get your wish. If they can get the course set up the way they want, they might not ever finish. This is where you get those +4, +4, +5, +6 championship scores. It's just a different it's a different test, a different kind of golf. And this is where Phil hit his ball when it was still moving, because he was so annoyed that he couldn't get the ball up on the green. So I don't know if that kind of frustration is my favorite thing to see, but like I said before, if I can watch 4 majors in a year and the character of all 4 is significantly different, and if you're going to look at a thumbnail of all 4 and the picture was very different, that would be a successful year.
You're going to like this year then, by the sounds of
This
things.
is going to be a fun one. Yes, I like to see that. And I want to see more frustration. Once a year. I'm happy with it once a year to have an unfair sometimes test of your golf acumen.
Blood. He wants blood.
Yeah, he does.
Yes. +5 winning score. I want to see that one time a year. Scotty Scheffler. Well, he won one time. It was the first event of the season and has not won since. A lot of second place finishes in there. Got off to the great start we were looking for on Thursday and never got it going over the weekend.
125 putts.
125. Yep. Not going to win many golf tournaments, certainly with that. Is it just as simple as the flat stick? Anything else? Got a new baby? What's going on with Scheffler? Because our expectations are so big for him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just to be that huge of a favorite in every event, I don't think the Tiger Woods era spoiled us. Where someone could be that much of a favorite and that dominant and that good every single time. I think in regular human golf, especially when there's, when you're a normal family person who is invested in your family life too, I think there's streaks and slumps that come with life, right? I mean, and if you can look back on your career and say, I contended in some majors and I won a couple events, but I didn't win a major, and that was the worst season I had. I mean, that's really not a bad career to have. So I think all we're really seeing is kind of a reconciliation. He had some struggles with the putter before a couple of years ago, and he sorted it out. One thing about Scotty that's so impressive to me is every single year he's always searching to get a little bit better. And I think that class is not always linear. Sometimes you're looking for things and you put some improvements in place, and it takes a little bit of time to figure out how to make it come together when you play. But I think this is what a normal career arc looks like. You don't win 2 majors every year. You don't win a major every year. You're still looking at a guy who's on pace to win something like 20 majors, which would put him in inner circle Hall of Fame status. So I think it's too early to say that he's washed up.
How about Bryson DeChambeau? Too early?
Well, I have a lot of sympathy for the live guys just in the disarray that's happening now. They all obviously made their bed and can sleep in it. But when you look at the way the rug has been pulled out, I think of all the things you expected from a super wealthy, the PIF is such a wealthy, there was so much money behind this that I think the one thing they didn't predict is that in the middle of the season, all of a sudden they would just say, you know what, we're not going to pay for this anymore. It's just an odd thing to try to deal with. And in Bryson, the stakes for him are different than other players. He's going to just try to decide if he wants to just go and be like a YouTube personality who plays in a couple of tournaments every year. I mean, that is a sea change in a person's career. And it's not a big surprise that the conversations you have to have on the business side and all these things swirling around the back could make it so that you're not exactly focused in a week like PGA week.
Final one for me, Rory. If you would have told me he shoots 4 under outside of the par 5s, I'm like, ooh, he's right there. He's even on the par 5s this week. Just unthinkable. There was it was the first par 5 yesterday. He bombs it out there almost 400 yards. He's got a 7-iron in to a par 5, and he basically 3-putts. He was on the fringe and doesn't get it. Rory also, though, kind of seemed like a jerk at times. Is it?
Yeah,
is it just?
He did.
Yeah,
like McCaffrey.
Yeah, maybe they're in the same realm there. What's going on with Rory?
The interesting thing is, if you twisted his arm, he would say he didn't play all that great at Augusta. So basically, he's been playing kind of B- golf, and he has a win and a top 5 in a major. So all things considered, I think he's in a decent spot. But we talked about this a little bit, I think, in some of the shows that we did later in the year last year. I think the amount of miles that he has on him from just having to be the spokesman for all this PGA Tour stuff over the last 5 years, mixed in with trying to win the Masters to win the career Grand Slam, I just think he's probably over it a little bit. Yep. Like, he just wants to be left alone. He doesn't want to have to talk to everybody after every round. He doesn't want to have to be the spokesman. And, I think he's kind of in the, I'm going to turn off my good behavior for a little bit. And you know what? he's probably earned that.
Yep.
He can, this is a guy who's been accessible. He's been a great quote. He did the forward to one of the books I wrote, and he could not have been nicer. Every interaction I've ever had with him, he's a professional, nice person. He's allowed to have a little bit of a time to blow off some steam and put away his good behavior for a minute.
Yeah, we did talk about it. You're exactly right. Last year, seemingly. Good stuff, Matt Rudy. We will talk to you in advance of the U.S. Open, Matt. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You bet. See ya.
Good to talk to you, Matt Rudy, Golf Digest, formerly of Golf Digest, where he wrote for decades. Trent's plays of the day are coming up next. Circa Sports has those. TC will give you that on the other side. 6.5, the number of the basketball games. It's 6.5 or 4, and it's 6.5, right?
It is currently 6.5.
By the way, do you know who the favorite is to win the U.S. Open at Shinnecock? This will surprise you.
Well, I would say Scotty Scheffler until you. Oh.
Yeah, it is.
Smart ass.
Scheffler 4-1. This is DraftKings. Rory 7-1. DeChambeau 10. Rahm 12. There's Ludwig Garberg ready to burn some of your hard-earned money.
Well, you've just bet him top 10. He's going to get you there.
Bet him top 10. There you go. Good stuff. All right. TC's got the plays of the day next. Circa Sports got those. I'll talk to you Thursday. TC will talk to you next. And coming up at 2 o'clock off the bench, Sean and Lucas from 2 until 5. Miller and Condon back with more after this.
The world's largest sports book in Los